Hello! Shall I do it in this stream? Well, you already know what's in this stream. We've got Doug joining us today, this morning, whatever time it is for you guys. But before we bring Doug in, let's do a few hellos. I see that Helen is, of course, in there. I see Stephanie. I haven't seen you for a while, Stephanie. How are you? You seem to be doing well, from what I can see on Facebook. Anyway, Jim, good to see you. Yeah, I've done some in... Yeah, by the way, please tell me if you can hear me. I think you can. Am I a little quiet? A little bit louder, maybe? Just put it up a notch. But yeah, hello to Tosh as well. Hello to Josh. Josh and Tosh, they're both in tonight. Stupid Robot Fighting League, we've missed you. I've seen you for weeks. Hope you're keeping well. Adrian's in as well from Hasta La Vista Boss. Decided not to stream this evening. Normally does a stream similar time as mine, but he's come to join us, so that's great. R7, good to see you. Bradbury. I did, Bradbury, indeed. I did miss a good Thug Life. Could have done a Doug Life. Or something. But yeah, there's the regulars. Justin, good to see you. Dana, hello. Dana's in, keeping an eye on you as well this evening. So yeah, I'm going to jump into the call with Doug in just 1 second. And basically we're going to be just hanging, just chatting. So please do share some questions with us in the chat. And I'll put as many as I possibly can to Doug. Or indeed, I'll try and answer them myself if I can. But yeah, we'll be talking about, working from home, working for yourself, affiliate marketing. I believe Doug does have a new course out, so we'll be talking about that as well. But we'll just see where it goes. But before we do that, I just want to give you a very quick update on my websites, on Best Reef Books and on Wheel Along. Although I did do a Wheel Along one just yesterday, so probably don't need to spend too much time on that. But let's get on the computer. If I can find the right transition. Okay, so with Best Reef Books, I haven't done any more work as usual, no more articles, and I'm sorry to say that the analytics have gone into the red. We're down 3% now on the last 30 days. But I'm just guessing that it's because we're coming out of summer, I think. I've looked on Google Search Console and all that kind of stuff, and I don't see any decline in rankings or anything like that, so it just could be a seasonal thing. I don't know. Probably about time to sell the site, I reckon. But yeah, Dana says she visited Best Reef Books today, so that at least helped. That's one visit. But yeah, something's going on there. I don't know exactly what, but hey, I'll be talking to Doug about it in a minute, because I think his new course is all about sites that kind of hit a flat line and I can't push it forward. So we're talking to him about that. In terms of earnings, earnings aren't too bad. I think we're still going to hit 4 figures this month if I sign in again. Marchants UK said he dropped from 209 visits to 11. Wow, that's a big drop. Hello Praveen, good to see you. Hello JP, good to see you. Hello Amine. I don't know. Sorry if I didn't pronounce your name correctly. Hello Lisa, good to see you. But yeah, in terms of earnings, it's all good. I think we're going to hit 4 figures, not as much as it has been. Last 30 days is 4 figures, but if we look at just this month, which is August, we're up to 750. Is it okay if I drink my Lift-Off IPA from Daredevil Brewing? That sounds fantastic. You should definitely do that. J5 says he wouldn't sell it, but we'll talk about that. In terms of Wheel Along, as I said, I did an update video yesterday. It's already had a couple of Amazon sales, but I think that might have been from one of you guys that clicked through and bought something off Amazon. It's currently indexed by Google, but it's not getting any real traffic because it's early days. So I'm just ploughing away. Well, I should say my writers and my editor are ploughing away, getting content up on the site. We're up to 21 articles now, and I found a fantastic writer who's in the UK who's doing some very good British English for me. Got a question in the comments just yesterday as to why I'd spelt tyre with a Y, because that's how you spell it, of course, if you're using the real English. But But yeah, I'm going to hopefully have my writer, who's called Karen, who was recommended to me by one of you guys, join me on a video soon. She's doing really good content. It's £25 for an article though, but it's really good quality. But anyway, I think that's enough of just me. I think it's time that we bring Doug in. I can see that he's ready. He's fired up, ready to go. And he's actually fasting today, so there's no beer involved. Unless the stream goes really well, and then he might crack one open towards the end. But you know him. I think you probably all have seen his YouTube channel. He does way more videos than me, and shares some really good stuff. So let's do a quick transition and let's bring him in. Doug, are you there?
Yes, I am here, Alex. Thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
Do you hear Doug all right? Let me just double check that your audio's all okay. I think it is. Let me know in the chat if you can hear Doug. Give me a yay or something, or I don't know. Let me know. But I can hear you loud and clear. Are you switching the earpods? Not doing it for you?
They're going in and out, so I'm gonna hopefully seamlessly transfer over. It's perfect because I could hear you just fine before you brought me on, and now that it matters, it's going in and out. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I don't know what's a better look. I mean, the AirPods are never, I don't think, a good look, but I like the big headphones on you.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if it's switching over. So okay, we'll proceed.
Someone said you're a little bit quiet. I've just turned you up a little bit. Everyone says that they can hear you, so that's perfect. And right. Doug's background is awesome. Is that like a Skype background?
No, this is real. I can.
Okay. You can actually go and touch it. Okay. Wow. Yeah, it looks very similar to one of the backgrounds that you get in Skype. So yeah, Justin likes the big headphones. He said big headphones for the win. So anyway, Doug, how are things? I've got a few little questions here, but we'll just see how it goes. What have you been working on recently? What have you been up to?
So it's been kind of up and down, where I've been super busy working on either course material or starting a new site. And then I've been visiting family a little bit as well. So went on a road trip, went down to Georgia. I actually had a meetup, and there were some of the crew from, our mutual audience out there. Just went to a park, hung out. We all stayed very far apart from each other. We wore masks, but it was nice. About 7-8 people came out, which is pretty good considering a lot of folks just have been staying inside and not really socializing much. So, overall pretty good. Currently in the Front Range area of Colorado and a lot of sort of the Rocky Mountain area, there's a lot of wildfires. So you can't see the mountains. The air quality is really poor. So over the weekend, I sort of overdid it outside, just my normal sort of walking and exercising, and I felt terrible. So I've been trying to stay inside until the wildfires break and it gets a little cooler, but it's been sort of brutal. I think roughly 90 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what it's like 37 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, hot.
So
yeah.
Hot, not pleasant. But yeah, things are good overall.
Wow, I can't believe that. So the air is that bad that if you go out walking, you get a bad chest to you and just feel,
Yeah, and I mean, I don't really get a headache like right away, but I realized by the end of the day that I felt really bad and just decided to, not do that anymore. So
yeah, fair enough. Stay in and do some work, I guess. So what have you been putting out on your YouTube? I see you've been uploading quite a lot. I mean, I think you've slowed down a little bit, haven't you? I don't know. I haven't noticed.
Yeah, actually, I haven't talked to you about this, but basically I had been uploading like clips and my podcast as well. And I decided to taper it back and be a little more strategic about the videos that I'm publishing to see if that makes a difference algorithmically and if I get more views or anything like that. So I've just been usually publishing one video during the week. A lot of times it's a success story interview, and then I'll have a live stream on Friday. So it's hard to tell. Do you happen to have an opinion on it, Alex? Would you rather just flood YouTube with content or try to put out maybe keyword-driven videos more often?
Oh, I don't know about any keyword-driven videos. I do them occasionally. I think that the more content, the better. But I'm not sure about recycling content. So clipping up stuff like, for example, I could make some videos out of the live streams that I do on a Tuesday. I could clip them up and make some videos. I don't know how beneficial that is. I mean, some people like to digest their content that way. So I'll be interested to find out how you get on with changing it, because you've done a bit of both now. So you should be able to get a good idea. Let's get a few questions. Yeah. That's the Mr. Boss says, do you guys actually believe that COVID is as bad as they say it is? Well, that's a big question. And we're not going to get into any conspiracy theories or anything like that. I don't know. What's it like for you, Doug, in terms of your COVID? Do you know anyone who's had it?
Yeah. So my sort of a distant relative that I know had sort of a minor chest cold when they were tested. It ended up being COVID. The rest of the family did not get it, even though they were all in the same household. They were,
Okay. That's
exposed to
weird.
each other.
Yeah.
And after a little more time, that guy's about 50. One of his daughters did get COVID. She was 100% asymptomatic. She's about 13, something like that. She was totally fine. And then the other two people in the household did not get it. But I mean, I think depending on where you live, you can be, really scared and you wear masks and you are really taking everything seriously, or you're completely lax. And I traveled across roughly 13 states. Almost everyone was wearing masks. It was something like 90%. So like across the swath of country that I went through, gas stations, Walmarts, like random places, like people are like wearing masks and, trying to respect other folks around them in general. So yeah, what about your neck of the woods here?
I don't really know anyone who's had it. I mean, everyone is trying to be as careful as they can. I haven't been out much, to be fair. I get all my shopping on the internet and all that kind of stuff. Although we took a short break out into the Herefordshire just the other week, which is a nice little green part of the country in the middle of nowhere in the rolling hills of this fair country. So didn't really see anyone, and yeah, I don't know. But let's talk about business COVID. Do you think it's had a positive or negative effect? Sorry, a positive or negative effect on the affiliate marketing game? I wish I could talk this evening.
Yeah, and I wish I could hear you too. I am gonna try and move the audio here really quick, so hopefully it'll work.
Okay.
Yep, that is much better. I am physically connected. We're going with the big earphones. So I think depending on your niche, it may have had a positive or negative impact. So that's a very political answer. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people probably saw traffic increase quite a bit in the March, April, early May timeframe. And then depending on your niche, I feel like some people saw it sort of dip back down as people got used to being at home and that sort of thing. For me, like I said, it's actually been, some sites go up, some sites go down, and it's very niche dependent from my observation. So,
Mm. Well, I think it had a positive effect on Best Roof Box, which is obviously one of my example sites. I think people weren't flying as much or flying at all, so I think they were thinking about traveling using their car and then thinking, oh, I haven't got enough room. So I think there was definitely an uplift. And anecdotally, I've heard from other people that said that it's been a good, because generally people have been shopping a lot more on the internet, and Amazon have had a fantastic time with it, haven't they?
oh yeah.
They've made loads of money, and it doesn't seem to have affected them much. I mean, we still get deliveries next day, same day here. I mean, they just do it, and occasionally their drivers wear masks. Sometimes they don't, but they generally just throw it at the doorstep and then run off anyway. So you don't really see them.
Yeah, just a dented box and the tape coming apart. So,
Yeah, so they're just still doing it. Paul asked, Doug, do you still own affiliate sites today that are making you money?
yes.
There we go, short and sweet.
Yes, I do.
Super Robot Fighting League sent a New Zealand $2 super chat, which I'm not quite sure how that much money that is in real money or whatever. But thank you very much, dude. It's good to see you back. I never really had a beard. Doug's got a bit of a beard, sort of coming on.
I just don't shave well. Yeah. I would grow a beard, especially in the winter, but it doesn't really fill out where you could tell hair is not my strength. So,
Yeah, but a lot of guys that rock the bald on top, they have a beard just to kind of balance it out a bit. I don't know.
yeah.
I think you'd look good with a big bushy beard.
Thanks. I probably would look okay, but like I said, it comes in patchy. I think back when I lived in Montana, where it was a little cooler in the winter, I would grow it out longer, and at best, it just looked a little longer, but still, it just what I couldn't pull it off. I don't have the follicle fortitude to do it.
Capacity there, yeah, that's fine. Nothing wrong with being follically challenged, Doug, says Justin. Um, right. Let's talk a bit more about Google. Have you been affected by the recent changes that Google have been doing? They've been doing a few different changes. I heard a number of people had their sites absolutely annihilated by it. But what's been your experience with it?
In May, I did have one site that got hit pretty hard, and this was my age site case study site, which I haven't done an update in a while, but I actually owe one to everyone on that site. But it was a site that I purchased around the summer of last year, 2019, put a decent amount of content on there, and then didn't really do much to it at all after October, November of 2019. It continued to grow all the way up until the end of April, and then the May update hit it pretty hard. I'm not 100% sure, like, what the issue was. Like most people who have any sort of broad algorithmic traffic impact, usually you don't know what it is, and then the next update may come around.
So Google, there's no message in your webmaster console or anything like that? No? They don't tell you anything?
Nope, there's no info. And I was chatting with one of my friends earlier today, and she had a similar thing, site that was getting a whole lot of traffic, and it dropped down, roughly say 80%, a huge amount of traffic. And it was a good site, solid content. It had been doing fine for years, and then it just got hit, and she doesn't know what the problem is. So she's just continuing on as normal, which is all you can really do. Try to implement best practices, get a few links here and there in a white hat nature, publish content, improve content, all of that kind of stuff.
It's interesting, and I don't think anyone's particularly clear, I mean, on what could be possibly affected, why some sites are affected, whether it's a niche thing, whether it's, as you say, maybe some link building that you did that Google's not particularly happy about. Which actually brings me on nicely to my next question, which is, I know in your new course, which we're going to be talking about in a little bit, you've got quite a big section on link building. What is your approach nowadays to link building?
Generally, I've stuck to the same thing. So it's been easy as things have changed, because this is a conservative way to get links, which is to network within your niche, usually through blog commenting, maybe some email networking, usually not asking for anything up front, but building a relationship ahead of time. Actually, that's how you and I met, Alex. I sent you an email, made friends.
I think a couple years commented on one of my videos.
Yeah, so I came in the side door, made you think I was a good guy, acted like I knew what I was talking about, and here we are a couple years later, chatting. So taking
it's a slow burn process. You build some relationships.
Yep, relationship building, and then perhaps ask for a guest post. But sometimes if you're doing actual good work on your site, maybe you have content that is well researched, data driven, you have some actual stats from sources that are readily available to anyone, and you're actually producing better content. It's way more likely, if you have a relationship, you can say, hey Alex, I published this new content. If thought you may want to check it out, you don't have to share it, you don't ask for anything, but if it's good enough and it stands on its own, then you can get it shared, potentially get those links, maybe ask for a guest post. Once you reach some relationship like you and I have, we could just say, hey, you want to can we help each other out somehow?
Yeah. And it just naturally happens.
Yeah. Or, and the other route is one that I've finally relented to, which is basically, some people don't want to build links and they feel like it's less risky. But I mean, even if you do zero link building, right? Have you had a site impacted by an algorithm update that you didn't build any links to at all?
I think I always build a couple of links. So I don't know if I've got a site that I've never built a single link.
Okay. No. And I do the same thing, but I've heard from people, there's probably a lot of people in the chat who put out content, they have no links at all, or maybe a handful, and then there's some update and it's unrelated to links. So from where I sit, I don't think it really matters if you have links or not. You're still susceptible to an algorithm update, because content matters, all the other little pieces matter as much as the links.
Yeah. I think links are still important, but you just got to be so careful. And you mentioned, white hat link building, but in theory, that's like a bit of an oxymoron, isn't it? Because if you're link building, then in theory, you're trying to manipulate Google, which in theory then is black hat.
It's, yeah, there's, depending on how you define things, you can end up in a,
It's
a circular, yeah.
Gray area. But I think one thing still sticks, and that is if you create a good website and you create good content, you will hopefully naturally attract a few links and maybe a few relationships. Anyway, let's jump into a few questions in the chat. Praveen asks, hi Doug. There we go. Flippa affiliate buying sites are good. I think he's basically asking, have you ever bought any affiliate sites on Flippa? Where did you pick that site up that you mentioned before? Was that from Human Proof?
It was from Human Proof, and it was one of their age sites. So it had a little traffic and was earning pretty quick. I've only purchased one site from Flippa, and it was basically to go through the process. I think I paid $100 for it. So it was essentially just a starter site with not much on it. And I haven't purchased anything from Flippa. From what I hear from people, it's improved because I had basically a horrible impression of it for all the way up until a couple months ago. So I think they're trying to clean it up. And I mean, I had zero experience buying a big site from there, but I know some people, if you keep looking, you keep watching, you can find a good deal that's undervalued and come in and get a good site. But me personally, I mean, one great thing about having a platform like you and I have, Alex, is like, we know people. So if we just ask around, like, we can probably get a good deal and be exposed to deals that other people don't have.
That's right. I mean, I bought sites on Flippa in the past. It was a long time ago, and I found the experience to be okay. I'm looking to sell my site soon. I think I'm toying whether to use Flippa or Empire Flippers. From what I can see from Empire Flippers, it's a higher level of operation. For example, they vet all the buyers by asking to look at their bank statements to make sure they've got the money that they say they have if they're going to be making offers on sites and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, but I think as an entry level, especially if you want like a quick, maybe slightly cheaper site, I think Flippa's a good place to go. Okay, let's have another question. Helen also reminded me that I didn't do a little horn for the super chat from Stupid Robot Finally, so I do apologise. Let me do that now. I'm glad we got that out of the way. You've called it a klaxon, Helen. I'm not sure if it is strictly a klaxon, but hey. Let's see where we've got here. So there was a question from J5. I can't see. Oh yeah, J5 said he's basically said done nothing with his Amazon site since he was told that you can't use product pics if you haven't got access to the API. I did a video on product pics just the other week because it's a question that comes up all the time. Where do I get some good images for my content? Where do you get your images from, Doug? Especially product images.
So I just use the site stripe. Like if you're in that situation where you don't have API access yet, use the site stripe image. I know it's a smaller resolution and all the normal complaints that people have, but it's fine. It'll be fine until you get API access. There's some workarounds that some of the plugin makers have implemented. So even if you don't have API access, you can still use their plugin to use the image. But as far as any sort of like high res, high quality images, I don't even worry about it. I aim for more like authentic looking images. So I maybe will go to Creative Commons and get images that aren't of the product specifically, but more an image that would identify well with the audience.
There's plenty of good stock images out there that you can grab either for free or for a very small amount of money. And I've spoken about iStock and other places where you can get a great image of a product that looks very similar to maybe the one you're talking about. And that's fine. I've also said that I sometimes cut it fine and I will go to the manufacturer's website and I will take the images from there. And I won't link to Amazon with those images though, because that's where you could be crossing the terms of service that Amazon don't like you linking from images that aren't from the site stripe or from the API. So you can get around it that way, though I'm not recommending that you do that because Amazon could still get funny if the image is the same as the one that they've got, which often is because the manufacturers supply Amazon with their images. But and don't let the lack of images stop you from working on your site, J5. Just keep going. Don't worry too much about that bit. I often find that, I mean, I get a lot of questions, a lot of comments from people that they just kind of get stuck because they overthink things. like, oh, I don't know where to get images from, so they just stop. Yeah, I guess you probably encounter that with a number of your students as well, don't you, Doug? What do you say to the people that kind of overthink things?
Start taking action. This was actually, something I put in the course at the end, because what you have to do across the board from start to finish is plan ahead. Think about what you're going to do, plan ahead, and then do it. It's really easy to get stuck in the planning phase to trying to get everything just right, because people like you and I are saying picking the niche is super important, picking the right keywords, it's so important. Everything's like high priority, ultra critical. But if you're most of the way right and you start taking action, you'll have more data once you get moving, and then you'll realize, okay, my perspective's different now, and I could feel more confident taking action in this direction. So once you get started, you'll have a little bit more momentum, and taking no action, like overthinking it, trying to be perfect, is just a fool's errand. And I mean, I make mistakes all the time, probably a few per day, and things that maybe I shouldn't, but I try not to make them again and again.
Yeah.
And sometimes you make a mistake and you have like a happy accident out of it as well.
Yeah. Mistakes are fine. You learn a lot from mistakes, and as long as you don't keep repeating them, you should be fine. Jim asked which question. Says, does anyone know much about the Income School 10-hour stream tomorrow? Nope, I just know that they're doing one. We'll have to all go and have a look. I don't know. I think they're just doing questions for 10 hours. I'm going to do a long stream as well. I've decided that I'm going to build a site live, which is probably a very silly thing to do, but it could be fun. Anthony asks, Doug, have you been using Lasso?
Lasso?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I have been using it.
What do you like about it? Do you like it?
It has very good metrics and analytics. So it's tied, like it was sort of built to be able to provide really good analytics, exactly what you would want to see, where it's hard to sort of put that together if you're not like an expert in Google Analytics. And the design and sort of the feature boxes look great. I did have some gripes about the usability. So and these are things that they fixed. So I complained about stuff and they fixed it, which is good. That makes me happy. I also know the owner and one of the founders and one of the people involved in doing the coding. So it's helpful to say like, hey, this is super important. So one of the issues was you had to be an administrator on WordPress to create any of the links. And I was like, I'm not going to change all these links. Like, I'm not going to create all of these. I need my assistant to be able to do it. So that was something that they put out, sort of a major release, and they're constantly making improvements and really trying to, make it go. Now, one gripe that I have is around, it's $20 a month, right? $20 a month. And if you're just starting your site, that doesn't make sense. Like, I maybe wouldn't get it right away. I would wait a few months until you have things in place, and then you can go in and add, again, really nice looking feature boxes. It's well integrated to, insert links and group things and just push any sort of affiliate offer, not just Amazon. So that was the other big thing. So have you used it at all?
I haven't used it, but it does look cool. I think I did see you actually having a chat with one of the creators on a stream, or possibly a video sometime, a little while back. Umberto asks, is it better to make pages or categories for SEO and the user? It's an interesting question. I mean, generally you would have posts, which are your articles, and they would sit within categories, which would then create a page of those posts. I think from an SEO point of view, it doesn't matter too much. Google doesn't care whether it's a post or a page, does it? Or a category even. But the categories don't always tend to index that well.
One thing, I was just chatting with Shauna Newman over at Skip Blast, and she was talking about how she puts together a page herself that essentially serves as the category page, so she could format it how she wants to and organize it how she wants to, versus the default category page, which the URL isn't so sexy. And then you just end up with kind of a jumble of links, however your theme does it. So that's one option. If you do create a category like placeholder page, you could just 301 redirect that category, the default category archive.
The WordPress one, through to your page. Yeah, I've done that actually before, and I did a video on that a while back for Best Roof Box, where I wanted to, have a pinned post at the top, and I wanted to add some filters and some other kind of cool stuff. So yeah, that's definitely a good suggestion. Tornado asks, Doug, what are your thoughts on blogging versus YouTubing? Or should it be should it be blogging and YouTubing? They work
pick
together.
Which one you like more, because a lot of people get sort of nervous in front of the camera. I did for I'm still nervous right now, but I did for probably a year and a half. It took me a long time to feel more natural and just be able to do it. And occasionally, if I'm not in the right frame of mind, it's hard to, start doing a video. So I think it depends on which one you enjoy more. And both of them have great organic search, which is one of the big pros over social media or some other areas that people like. If you could throw podcasting in there, right, you can make great money podcasting. It's really hard to have the discoverability with a podcast. No one's really searching like they do on YouTube or on Google. So I think either one are great. And once you have one of them established, then you can, like you said, Alex, you do them both. Ideally, you do them both.
Yeah. I think YouTube is definitely a great way to get traffic, and possibly an easier way to get traffic than Google is. J5 asks, how many articles a day do you post, Doug?
Currently, less than one a day. I'm not in a huge content situation.
Drive, yeah. I guess it does vary. I mean, like on my new wheelbarrow site, I've just been ordering articles, pushing them to the editor, and then publishing them myself as well. And with a new site, you're full of energy and excitement, aren't you? And you just kind of roll the content. But then once your site's a little bit more established, it does tail off, and you just got to do as many as you think you need to do, or as many as you can. Walt asks, if Doug were to start a new website today, what niches would appeal to him the most? Is there any niches that are jumping out? Is it face masks or?
So I've been aiming towards things that I'm interested in, just because like you said, Alex, you end up working on something, you're pretty excited. We like doing, this marketing stuff. And once the excitement goes away, then you're like, do I really want to work on it? There's other things I can do. So I would aim towards things that I'm into, which, when I launched a previous course, I talked a lot about like cameras, DSLRs, because you could do YouTube. I'm into photography. I ended up getting a Canon RP, which has been really fun to play with. It's a full frame mirrorless camera and sort of another lens line. You're into cameras and you use Canon, right?
Well, yeah. I've got Canon, yeah. And I've got the old, what was it? 80? Something like that. Yeah. I love cameras. I mean,
cool.
Just for video though. I don't really do photography or anything.
And you know what? I like to take pictures, but I often don't do too much. So it was cool when I actually like printed these babies out and got some done. So like camera gear, that's pretty fun. And then one of the keys is you can sell physical products, right? All the camera gear, you can go into the photography side, you could do the video side, there's lighting, there's other things, there's even microphones related to video.
I guess the good thing about that is you can buy the products and play with them.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's perfect. And then the layer on top of it is you have the digital products, which often give you like way more affiliate programs so that you're not just reliant on B&H or Amazon or whoever.
Okay. So the guy selling the Photoshop course and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And the software, all this stuff. But yeah, courses are huge and they usually have a bigger payout, and people are looking like, how do you process a raw image, right? You have to use a tool for it. Some free ones are out there, but there's better ones that are paid. So you could have a how-to article and then promote a software product that costs whatever, $100, $200.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the one thing that's put me off those kind of things is because, I've got lots of things that I like. I do like photography. I like technology. I like video games and all those kind of things. But then I look at those niches and I think, wow, they're just way too competitive. There's tons of camera experts and guys that are already out there. How on earth can I possibly even make a dent? But then, I don't know. What do you think when you see like the competition in these niches, which is generally very, very strong?
There's always new YouTubers or new blogs that are getting started like every day, and some
Yeah.
of them get a lot of traction fast, some are a slow burn. But I've found generally, if as long as your foundational assumptions are okay and you're doing the right process, if you stick with things long enough, you'll usually get some traction. And I'm pretty sure that most niches will have some long tail keywords. There's new products all the time. So if know that it's going to take a little while for a lot more competitive area and you put in the time, it should be okay. I mean, internet marketing, the stuff we're doing, it's so
Yeah,
competitive. We're
it's
all
highly competitive.
marketers.
Yeah, but then I always remind myself, especially with YouTube, that it doesn't matter if anyone else is doing the stuff that you do. There is always one unique element to each YouTube channel and just each thing, and that is the person that's creating it. It's basically you. You are unique. There's no one else that is like you. So you're always going to have a different edge, a different angle, a different personality than someone else who's doing exactly the same thing, and that's what makes everything unique, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Hasta la vista boss, who I know you know quite well. He's got a great up and coming YouTube channel as well. What makes you sell a site versus keep it, Doug? Is there like some questions you ask yourself, or do you just have a feeling maybe?
I think it's probably more of a feeling. There's some folks that they literally just want to, build sites, build it up to say $2,000 a month and then sell them. And other people just want to have the cash flow. So at one point in time, I thought, I don't want to sell this big site because of the taxes you'd have to pay. After I did some research here in the US, you have to pay a capital gains tax, but it was actually less than my normal taxable rate. So I don't know how it works in the UK there, but once I did the research, I was like, oh, this is actually cheaper if I sell it now. So I was like, you know what? I think maybe I'll sell this one because it's not, I'm not super interested. Someone else could do more with it. And, at some point, I'm fortunate enough to where the cash flow or the money up front doesn't really, it doesn't impact me at all. Like it doesn't matter. It's not like we're not even doing this for the money, right? Like we're doing, we're not doing it for free. We charge for stuff, but the making more isn't as interesting as working on things that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the thing. I think that's what always happens with me is that you just get bored of sites for a little while, and the lump sum that you can get from selling a site and then enables you to do something new and exciting. And especially myself, I'm very interested in new shiny things, and I get bored quite quickly of stuff. So it enables you to start new stuff, doesn't it, and move on to something fresh. That's good.
And I have one thing to layer on top of that too, while you're coming up with the next question there, is to that point, I have gotten bored with some sites where, they're years old, they're 4 or 5 years old. I've done very little with them in the recent few years, and I put them aside knowing, hey, I could come back to it. I'm probably at a point where I may start liquidating those because now I'm like, you know what? Like I said, I'm not interested. I'm not excited to revamp this site, but essentially they are, age sites with lots of content. Maybe they're making, $50 to $100 per month, and they need some TLC with the right person who could put in the time. They would be a great asset to have. A lot of them have a lot of links too. So
yeah, exactly. Dave asks, anyone experienced problems with the latest WordPress update, which is 5.5? I've not, but I've noticed that it does overlap a number of things. For example, you get a sitemap and some other stuff that it does now that used to you have to use plugins. So I guess I would say that just double check that the new features don't clash with some plugins that you might already be running. What are your experiences with the latest WordPress?
No issues, fingers crossed. I have all my sites backed up over at Managed WP, so I usually don't get too nervous these days, just knowing I could roll it back to the previous image. So,
Mastermind asks, what's the process of selling a site? Does the buyer use the site for a week or so and check that everything is all right and then pay? No, it doesn't work quite like that. Generally, they pay and then you... or in fact, generally there's a middleman. There's someone who helps you sell it. We've already mentioned Flippa and Empire Flippers. So generally they will hold the money while all the transfer and everything goes through. And then once that's all complete, then the money's released. Is that generally how it works, Doug? You've sold bigger sites than I have.
Yep. Yeah. So it just goes into escrow typically, and then there's some, double checking to make sure things are legit. And if you happen to sell on like to a private individual and you have a good relationship, you may just get paid. They get the site, and then there's a lot of trust, built into that. But I've done that as well, where there's no holding. It's very, a handshake and just, you're working on your honor, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. There's going to be a little bit of that for sure. Kevin asked, what kind of featured image is best for the blog? If it looks too professional, is that a bad thing? I don't know. I always use just stock images for my featured images, and yeah, they look kind of professional, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I always think that if you can take your own images because you've got access to the product or whatever it is you're talking about, I always think that's obviously the best thing you can possibly do. But
Yeah. And there were a couple, I have seen some sites where it's like all stock images and it looks too sterile and no personality, not authentic looking at all. And I mean, I wouldn't necessarily, depending on the content, right? If the content is awesome, I maybe would trust it, but there have been some sites that I've landed on just for my own personal research where I thought,
you can
oh,
tell straight away, yeah.
yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So yeah, I think professional can make your site look a little bit fake, especially if you are using lots of professional stock images like I am. So if you've got some maybe photos that are a little bit more rough and a little bit more amateur, that can add a certain level of credibility to your site. Super chat from Robot Fighting League. Sorry, I missed that. Have you been insulted by someone with a lethal set of bagpipes? I'm not quite sure what you mean, but hey. We're a little bit behind on the chat, so I'm going to just quickly scroll through. The owner says, Doug, do you use Elementor?
No,
No.
I don't.
You kind of stripping everything back on your sites. I have an issue with Elementor, and they're going to need to fix it. Otherwise, they're going to lose a big part of their audience. And I'm going to actually ask you about this, and it's to do with the Google Core Vital thingy bob. That's going to be a big thing come next year, I think, when they start rolling it out. And it's basically all down to your Google page speed score and all that stuff. And Elementor fails terribly on this because there's too much code, there's too much stuff in there that's not needed to be there. So what are you building your sites with now? Or are you just using Gutenberg?
Actually, I don't use Gutenberg at all. I actually use the classic WordPress editor.
Yeah.
I use the Focus WordPress theme, which is built on Thesis. So did you ever use Thesis back in the day?
Yeah. I know
Okay.
Thesis. Yeah.
And that was the one that I used initially over a niche site project. And then slowly, as I got more comfortable using it, I started using it on all of my sites, which is always easier if you just use the same platform.
Yeah.
And
you don't have to learn a new theme every time, yeah.
And the cool part is
builder, yeah.
Chris Pearson, the creator of Thesis and Focus, now is sort of the skin that lays on top of it. He's kind of against the grain in a lot of ways. He has like strong opinions on implementation. He has a strong sort of CS background. We went to the same college, which I found out when I talked to him one time. But anyway, he's all about site speed. He's about making sure that there's not extra, cruft in the code, and stripping away like even some of the things that you mentioned that are now sort of duplicate. Like we figured out how to do sitemaps already, right? Now WordPress is putting sitemaps in there. Like we solved that problem like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We don't need their probably slower implementation. So he has things that just clean up the code. Some of it's like Gutenberg. And yeah, so I'm definitely minimalist. My sites are going to look boring, but if you're on a mobile phone, it'll be clear, easy to read. It'll load fast. There's no garbage on there. So everything's stripped away.
Yeah. So that's why things like Elementor, you're just not interested. You can make a great looking site, but as you say, that doesn't really matter when someone's looking on their phone and they just quickly want to find a bit of information, and you just need to be fast and clear and crisp and clean. Kind of brings us onto this next question, which is, what device do you prefer to work on sites, PC or Mac? And I saw I think it was a YouTube story that you put up the other day where I think you were trying to fix your wife's PC, was it?
Yeah, yeah. So I use a Mac. I've used a Mac probably for I think I said 10 years on that story, but I think it's been about 15, right? So I started using Macs. I have a computer engineering background, and I realized that my professors were using Macs. And I was like, oh, they're using Macs. So I built a few computers over the years. I've used Linux, I've used Windows. For a long time, I used both. Sort of all these different operating systems together just from my job. And then personally, I use Macs across the board. I do have one Chromebook that I have used for like some travel. It's just basically like a disposable computer. It was like $120, and
Yeah.
I could throw it around.
What's
My
that like?
wife,
Is it good?
what's that?
Is the Chromebook good?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, I got sort of an underpowered one, so it's a little bit slow, but it's perfect for um, checking email, doing some light, WordPress editing and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And my wife has a Windows machine, so I was trying to install Windows. We've had her hard drive crash, so we replaced the hard drive, went through some process. Like she spent a day on it, I spent a day on it, and then I finally installed Linux on there. I put Mint Linux, and I was like, all right, just see if you could use it. Like I just wanted to
Oh,
make sure there wasn't another hardware issue,
I could never
motherboard,
put
memory.
Linux on my wife's computer. God, she'd have a fit. It was hard enough when I moved her over to a Mac from a PC. She still has this fond memory of like Windows 98 or whatever, when everything was easy to use. And yeah, I think if I gave her a Windows PC now, she would hate it as much as she hates her Mac. Um,
They crash all the time. They just crash, and like my
they
my
still do
Macs
that,
like
do
never
they? Yeah.
crash. Yeah.
No, they don't. They're generally good. And once you get the ecosystem of the phone and iPads, and it does kind of all work together.
Yeah.
Um, but there we go. Um, what was I going to ask you? There was another question I saw. I'm just going to quickly scroll. There was a question about SEMRush. Is that something you use? What do you think?
Occasionally,
What do you think of SEMRush?
I use it occasionally. It's a good tool. It's great for keyword research, and they have a lot of like extra stuff they've created for sort of like content audits and yeah. So it's fine. I think either you pick SEMrush to work with or Ahrefs. I think Ahrefs has a more complete backlink database. I don't think anyone will argue with that. So they have essentially the same
Same data.
functionality. Yeah, yeah. Same
Data, yeah, and the same
functionality,
numbers,
data.
which yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, SEMrush is really good though.
Actually, this is going to bring me on to one of my questions, which is, a while back we did a playlist together. We did 10 videos, I think it was, and it was all around KGR, which was a big thing to you back then. This was a while ago now, probably every 2 years, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Are you still using KGR? Is it still relevant? Is it still a good thing to use?
Well, this is groundbreaking. It doesn't work anymore. So,
Oh,
nah, I'm just kidding. Yeah, yeah, it works
you heard it
great.
here first.
Yeah, that's gonna be like sound bites on other people's channels.
Yeah, you can use that
So,
as clickbait in your next video, Hasta la Vista. Doug
so
says KGR doesn't work.
it's been a
Go on.
hoax the whole time. There's no such thing as all in title. Yeah, it works great, and I've been trying really hard after polling the audience what they want to hear about, and that's generally success stories and almost across the board it's KGR. I mean, it's not the only solution, right? But it's pretty effective for a lot of people in many different situations, whether they want to add more content or just start a site from scratch. And I think that's
Yeah.
the most effective place.
I
It's
think
like,
it's great for people starting and maybe they've only got a limited budget, for example, spend on content, or they've got limited time to write content. It allows you to kind of laser in and focus on some article ideas that are actually going to bring something to your site. I mean, if you've got tons of money to spend on content, then yeah, you can just write articles about everything that Google search suggests brings up. That's fine. But if you haven't, then you need to be a little bit more targeted. And I think KGR really does help you with that. And I guess let's talk a little bit about your course before we get towards the end of the stream. By the way, Doug has obviously kindly set me up as an affiliate. He may send me a few beers if you do purchase his new course. You can check it out at wpeagle.com wp.com/Doug. Very easy to remember, wpeagle.com/Doug. There's links in the description to this video. There's also a link to Doug's YouTube channel if you've not seen it yet in the description. But Doug, tell me what's new in your new course, and I think it's only available till Friday or Saturday, is it? Give us the details.
Yep. Basically, if you want to get more out of your existing site, then this course is for you. And this is basically one of the most common questions that I've had over the years. And I kept, saying, maybe I'll do a course in the future. Finally, 2 years later, I'm putting the course out. So one of the problems is people like you and I, Alex, we're putting out content all the time, how to do X, Y, or Z. And it's actually kind of confusing because all the things that we mentioned probably are effective to some degree. And when you have a site that has sort of grown and then stalled out, you've plateaued, you're not sure what to do. You're actually doing more and more work, but you're not getting the same results that you were seeing before. This is exactly the course that you need because it helps you see where you're and assess like where your site is currently, and then figure out how to bridge the gap. So there's no big secrets. It's either, add more content, improve content, or add backlinks. You can also improve your conversion rate, which is obviously very helpful. You can make more money from the same amount of traffic. So that is who it's for. There's a few case studies on the sales page where in one instance, someone increased traffic by 242% on a handful of posts. Someone doubled traffic. Sometimes someone is me for certain sites, but I can't remember who did what. And then Christy, who's been on the channel several times, increased traffic by 27% to 35 different posts that she went through, improved the content, strategically pulled data from the Search Console, assessed where her site was for those 35 posts, and then added sections. She did it over the course of a couple of weeks, and then over 7 months, traffic went up by a pretty dramatic amount, and it was like 51,000 more visitors over those 7 months. Wow. So
it sounds perfect. I mean, I was just saying earlier with Best Roof Box that it was growing nicely, and now we've kind of hit a level. And I mean, the one thing about Doug, if you don't know his background, he is a project manager, but in his core. He's got letters after his name and everything that tell you that he's a project manager. So unlike me, who I'm completely disorganized, very rarely have a plan, Doug always has a plan and is able to lay things out. So this is for people like myself where I've got my site to a certain point and I now need to kind of know where I'm at and which direction I need to head in. And someone like Doug is great at kind of showing you how to create a plan that you can actually follow and implement. So as I say, there's a link in the description to the course. Is there anything else you'd like to say about it? When is it available to, and how much does it cost, maybe?
Sure.
Go and check the sales page if you want to find that out. I don't know.
I'll tell you how much you can save. How about that? So this is the launch week, and it'll be available at a discount, either $100 or $150 off until Friday at the end of the day. So until August 28th. And you can get sort of the standard plan, which is just the course. And there's also an option for one-on-one coaching, which I normally bill out at $447 per hour. So it's rather expensive. And, most people, depending on where you're at in your, journey, you may or may not be able to, book an hour with me. But in this case, it's actually an extremely good deal. It's like you're almost getting the course for free by the way I've priced it now that I'm seeing how the math works out here. And be able to get it in the future, but if you do want to save and get in early, this is the week to do it. And I will mention there's a money back guarantee, as all the if you have a course, you kind of need to do this. So 30-day money back guarantee, and it's a course where you have one problem you're trying to solve: get more traffic, earn more money. So I'm not dripping it out. You could buy it right now, go through all the content this afternoon or this evening, start implementing tomorrow. There's a decent amount of content. There's 4 units, but you can, binge it and then figure out what to work on now. And that's the thing. There's no shortcut here, but it will help you figure out what you need to work on. And, Alex, like you said, you got Best Roof Box out there. You've been doing some, set of work. It's been working fine for a little while. But the same thing is not going to push you farther. Like you're going to have to move to a different area and work on different parts of the site.
Right, let's just go to the chat for a second. Now, J5 is being very negative about courses. And basically it's just repeating what you said, which is a lot of the information is out there for free because me and you upload it all the time. J5, of course, is probably not for you, but for some people that need a little bit of structure in their learning and need their hand holding and maybe want a call with Doug where he focuses exactly on what you're up to, it might be for them. And I guess the problem is that there's a lot of courses out there, isn't there, on the internet, and a lot of them are not very good. A lot of them oversell, they overpromise, and hey, there's a money back guarantee anyway, so maybe you should go check it out and see.
Can I add something to that too for J5? So the big problem is people don't take action if they have no skin in the game. So I've had basically people that buy courses and they take it seriously are more likely to do the work. And I know I've actually given courses away to friends, or some people are like, hey, you know what? I don't have any money. Do you think you could just give me the course? And I've tested this out. Don't send me an email asking me for this. But basically, I would give access to people who had some hard luck story and it didn't do shit. And then I was like, oh, they don't care because there was no like driver for them. But there's a psychological thing going on. And then also,
if you start investing in your business and in yourself, then you kind of have to follow it through.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But yeah, if you're not interested in the course, that's totally fair. You could definitely piece it together between my 1,100 videos on YouTube,
my channel, Income School, and all the other gurus out there on YouTube. A lot of it is all good stuff. It's just getting it all in the right order.
It's too much.
And applying it to your setup and your projects. Walt has a question, back to KGR. He says, you've been talking about KGR back, since 2016. What is the best current thinking on KGR? Is there any? Has it changed at all? Are you now providing your latest thinking on KGR, or is it still pretty much the same?
Go to the playlist from 2 years ago. Part of the just accidental brilliance of it was it's actually held up through all these algorithm updates, multiple years from 2016. It's the same simple formula, and you can go to the playlist that Alex and I worked on together, the masterclass, and it holds up. That'll lay it out. You can sub in some other tools, but that's where I would go, the masterclass.
Exactly. Still up there. Go check it out. It's all in a playlist. It's a combination of videos from myself and Doug. Revenue and Incomes says that people, basically backing up what you're saying about courses, that people see it as having no value when it's free. So the more that people pay for a course, the more work they'll probably do.
Yep.
Tornado asks for the top 3 tips for getting Google Search Console to work best. Well, the first one is to sign up for Google Search Console and claim your site. Second one is submit an XML sitemap. And what else would you suggest for Google Search Console? Maybe check it now and again.
Yeah, take a peek every now and then. And there's actually it's about a 30-minute video inside the course, but I'll tell you quickly what's in there. If you want to get the full video, you got to buy the course. But basically, you can pull down data for your site for a given URL and see what keywords are ranking. Then you can check to see, with a pretty simple formula in a spreadsheet app, you can see if you're using the terms that you're bringing in impressions and traffic and getting clicks. There's going to be a delta in there where you can find keywords, queries that you're pulling in impressions for that you're not actually using in your content. So if you add that content in, you'll be able to get traffic probably and get clicks because you're actually now trying to optimize around that query that you were not before.
Yeah, you're more relevant than you were. Good tip. And Narendra asks, wants me to ask you, what's your take on adding affiliate products for a brand new site? Do you wait a bit and then add your links, or do you just add the link straight away?
I just put them in straight away, but there's no harm in waiting.
No, I don't think there's any harm. You just do it straight away. There's no reason why you can't have affiliate links on a new site. I did put this comment up just a minute ago, but Justin again says, time is money and a good course will save you time and it could spend you days, possibly even years, hunting around YouTube and other places trying to find the right information. Exactly. Good comment. Good point. But then other people are saying, I personally wouldn't buy them as I think I have enough current knowledge and know how to access other things that I need to know. Remember, Bradbury, you don't know what you don't know. I think that's a thing. But then at the end of the day, it's you're either into courses or you're not. And as we promised earlier, there's no hard sale pitches on my streams. Charles asks, Doug, does Ezoic, I know you're a big fan of Ezoic, does or even do Ezoic ads slow down your website enough where it could really impact rankings or slow the growth of a website?
So I don't have...
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I know you're very close to Ezoic, but yeah, I have heard that Ezoic may slow your site down. What are your experiences with this?
All ad networks are going to slow your site down. So across the board, like that is a known quantity. How much? It depends on a lot of other factors. Could it slow down your site enough to impact rankings? I would say it's possible. I haven't seen that specifically. I think it would be really hard to trace back and then slow down the growth of your site. Like I said, I think it could be possible. However, they don't want that to happen, right? Yeah, they don't want it to happen.
No. And I mean, you mentioned ad networks. It's so frustrating when you run a Google page speed score using the Google tool. And for example, you're running AdSense on your site. One of the first things that they'll flag up is you're running some code that's slowing down your site, and it'll be their own AdSense code that they're flagging up.
Yep.
Whether speed does affect rankings, from what I can see from a lot of SEO guys that test this stuff out by slowing down their sites and speeding up their sites and measuring everything, speed is not that big a factor. Google always talking about how important speed is and all that kind of stuff. And obviously, if your site does feel slow when you're loading it on your phone or when you're loading it on your desktop, then that is an issue. People shouldn't have to wait for a page to load. But in terms of a few points on your page speed score here or there, the effect that has on your rankings is negligible at the moment anyway. I mean, next year might be different, but at the moment, don't get too obsessed with page speed score or speed. As long as your site loads, I say, relatively quickly and it doesn't feel slow, you should be fine. Ninja DIY is coming back on the KGR, says KGR does not work anymore. Some KGR keywords have Wirecutter as number one and still shows KGR compliant. Google is too smart now to recognize LSI keywords and search intent. Okay.
Well, I would say then for you specifically, you can, not use it. It's totally okay. KGR is just a tool that can help some people, but if you are finding it's not working for you, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Other people will use those keywords instead.
It's up to you, exactly. And Carl, he's a big fan of mine. He's got his own YouTube channel. He's also a big Income School fan. He won that competition. He's a big fan of yours as well. He has been doing some tests on some new sites using purely KGR content, and he has had some fantastic results with it. So
cool.
At the end of the day, again, this is one of those things that always comes up. People will spot one thing that maybe doesn't work and then just apply it. They'll see one keyword or something and say, okay, well, the Wirecutter's coming up. Then that's, the whole thing doesn't just throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah. And it's a cognitive bias where it's a confirmation bias, right? So you're looking for evidence and, it's not scientific. You found one example. You don't cuss too much on here, right? Because you run some ads occasionally. So I'll try to, keep it back, but basically you can find any evidence that you want if you start looking around on the internet. So to back up your own beliefs. That's just how conspiracy theories and everything else that's going on at the moment works right now. You can always find evidence. But at the end of the day, just try it out and give it a
see
shot.
what happens. Try stuff out for yourself and then make your own opinions and stuff. HF Global also says if you follow too many people, you're likely to get confused. That's right, you will do. Though that actually brings me on to one other little question. We are going to wrap up very soon, so do keep your questions coming in for now. But I've got a quick question regarding too many people. Is there any YouTubers that you're currently enjoying that are maybe in our space, or not? Maybe not even in our space. Is there anyone you're watching right now, or do you not have time to waste on YouTube?
I waste plenty of time. Yeah, so not really in our space too much. I try not to consume too much in the immediate area that I'm talking about. It's very easy to accidentally copy what someone else is doing, and you don't even mean to. So, and I would get bored listening to like the same stuff that I talk about.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's
you know,
true. Yeah, I don't watch it much either, but
so
yeah,
I
I just
like,
wondered if there's anyone new that you might have spotted.
yeah, so I like Matt Diavella. Do you watch? He's like the one of the minimalist guys. Um, he's a filmmaker and he got into YouTube, so he's pretty good. I like Noah Kagan as well. So I've had ups and downs where I've like followed Noah really closely, but his YouTube channel is pretty good. He's putting like a pretty strong effort into it. And I'm trying to think if there's any other specific, so completely on the other side, not marketing related or lifestyle or anything. I've been watching just like covers of songs that are, sometimes are really small, like singer-songwriters. And once you start watching YouTube videos, YouTube starts recommending other stuff. So they may be, I think it's like pretty hard music. So it's like some Tool songs, and there's this acoustic guitar like composer who is insane. I play the guitar a little bit. Do you play anything, Alex? Or?
No, I want to play the guitar. I've seen there's some apps now that you can get for your phone that teach you how to play the guitar.
Yeah,
I'd love to be
give
able
it
to
a
play.
shot. It's fun.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
really fun.
yeah.
Get chicks. Yeah.
That's the thing. When you want to be that dude at the party where you can just there's a guitar in the corner, you just pick it up and start jamming it. But
Yeah.
there's no parties. There's no parties anymore, so that doesn't matter. There's a couple of questions here that are kind of related. One from Marchant's UK Homebrew, which I know the homebrew probably sounds interesting to you, Doug. But basically, do you just subscribe to the Google Sandbox theory? And this kind of leads me on to the next question from Habib, which says, how long do you have to wait before Google starts sending visitors to your new website?
I subscribe to it. I think there's probably a 6-month and a 12-month sandbox. I don't think it necessarily impacts every site where it's exactly that. But yeah, there seems to be a pretty strong correlation from my observations over the course of years. And yeah, 6 to 12 months, I would say.
Yeah, that's you just have to be patient with these projects. They take time, and definitely I've seen this correlation across so many different analytics graphs that I've seen for new sites where you start your site and it's just bobbing along, it's not doing anything, and then suddenly something happens, and the graph starts to move, and it's literally like someone has switched a switch somewhere at Google, and your site starts to show way more often in the search results pages. Right, we are going to wrap it up in a few moments because I don't want to keep Doug all day and it's getting quite late here. Ryan asked, is your course worth it for someone with just 400 visits per month?
It depends on how old your site is. So there's a little bit more detail on the sales page where I say, hey, if you're not getting like anything yet because your site's too young, then maybe you should wait till you're 3 or more months through. So I would say potentially with 400 visitors, yes, you probably can get the course and figure out like, hey, this is where I need to spend some time. There may be some foundational issues where maybe you're going after like sort of the wrong sort of keywords, or you've made some sort of mistake with maybe the layout, maybe your site loads really slow. There's a couple like little items in there that could be impacting things, which I maybe don't cover in the course, but it's very clear on the sales page.
Okay, go check it out. It can't hurt to go and have a look. As I say, the link is in the description, or it's just wpeagle.com/Doug. Marchants believes the sandbox as well. I'm just going to quickly scan through and see if there's any last questions. Then we can bid Doug farewell. Thank you very much for joining us. Stephanie has a very strange question. I'm moving to another very small town with a horrible internet service, which has me concerned. What are the must-haves to help my service? Ooh, I don't know.
Patience.
Yeah. It's tricky. I guess there's some solutions. I mean, I've got really fast internet here. When I was away the other week, the internet was quite slow, but it went down to like 2 or 3 meg. I was still able to work. Find images, put articles together, publish stuff. For that kind of thing, you don't need a huge internet connection. If I was uploading a lot of YouTube videos regularly, then a fast connection is definitely worth having. But as long as you've got some kind of connection, I guess you can still crack on.
Yep.
Okay. I think that's about it. Thanks for joining us, Doug. Yeah, we've had loads of questions. We've covered loads of ground. do go check out Doug's training, and do go check out Doug's YouTube channel.
Thanks.
So you've got tons of great content. What are you up to for the rest of the day? You got much planned? Staying inside, I guess.
Yeah, staying inside. I may actually go work out, get some exercise, but inside. So yeah, Alex, always a pleasure. Great catching up. We got to do it more often. It's been a while. So yeah, would love to join again, answer questions, and just talk shop. Have a beer next time when I'm not fasting.
Yeah, what beer did you have on standby, by the way?
So I did have one on standby. This is actually, I was smart. I thought ahead. This is a 1E IPA from Oscar Blues. It's 100-calorie hazy IPA, 4% alcohol. So the perfect sort of day drinker.
There. Only 100 calories as well. Oh, we've got some fantastic alcohol-free beers now. They're like 0.5%, they're 30 calories, something like that. Have you heard of Brewdog? You must have heard of Brewdog.
Yep, yeah.
The big brewery. They're up in Scotland, but they're also making waves in America. They do some fantastic alcohol-free. But yeah, they're getting a lot of Goose IPA. Goose, is that an American one? I think it is.
Goose Island.
Yeah, Goose Island. Yeah.
Island. Yeah. That used. I mean, it's out of Chicago, and they were independent for a while, and then I guess Anheuser-Busch bought them. So they still make good beer, but yeah, some people are like, it's one of the big guys.
So that's why they're in the UK being now. They've got that distribution from Anheuser-Busch, who also bought the Camden Brewery in Camden in London, who do some fantastic beers as well. So maybe they'll be coming your way as well. You should definitely check them out. They do some lovely IPAs in an American style, very hoppy and all that kind of stuff, which is my kind of beer.
Right on.
But anyway, yeah, thanks for joining me, Doug. And yeah, we'll do this again. Maybe I can join you on one of your streams sometime. I'd be up for that if you would be kind enough to invite me.
Absolutely, man. You got it.
Cool. All right. Well, to everyone in chat, I'm going to transition back to that camera and we'll finish up. See you later, Doug.
Bye.
The camera on. Hey, I'm a little bit dark, aren't I? Let's. That's better. Did you enjoy that? If you did, do give me a thumbs up. Wow, I think we just had a super chat. MMK, did you just? I think you did. Wow, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed your, at least received your t-shirt. Does it fit? Let's do a little bit of hair. Thank you for that super chat. I really appreciate it. Very, very generous indeed. There is some t-shirts available on the website, by the way, wpeagle.com. Check out the merch section. Marchants asks, do you believe in the sandbox? I do indeed. And from what I can see from analytics on Best Roof Box, it was definitely in the sandbox in the beginning. Hi, John. Good to see you. But yeah, if you did enjoy tonight's stream, I thought that was really good. I thought Doug shared some great information. Of course, you don't have to buy his course. I'm not going to do any hard sales. But I've looked at the course. Doug kindly enough let me get in for free. And it has got some good stuff in there. And it's got some structure. If you want to just start at the top, work your way through, learn a lot of stuff, do a lot of work on your site, plan it properly, work out where you're at, work out where you need to go, then it would be perfect for you. If you just want to browse around YouTube and find the information that way, then that's fine too. Of course, it's always a balance between time and money, as is everything really. I didn't used to believe in the sandbox. It's like some kind of weird religion. Do you believe in the Google sandbox? Or do you believe in UFOs? Do you believe in ghosts? Oh, Walt's suggesting some drinks there. The vodka mule. Am I out of focus? Hang on. Do you know why? Do you know what it is? That better? Do you know what it was focusing on? Do you know whose eyes do you think are more attractive than mine in this particular camera shot? Let me tell you. It's focusing on the ghost, on Blinky, on whatever he's called. And I do apologise. There we go. Hopefully you're back on my face. To be fair, that's a better looking face, so it wasn't all bad. Wow. Stephanie's still wearing it. This is one of my original ones. It's heavily faded. I've got a whole load of new ones though, which I have been wearing. The red one, you saw that, very bright. But yeah, check out SEMRush. I will add. I think I've added all the colours. Did I add all the colours? Don't know. But go check it out. Anyway, yeah, if you want to get some merch, my supplier is now shipping. They are printed here in the good old UK. Nothing from China. But we will ship them anywhere in the world. And it doesn't take too long, funny enough. I guess there's plenty of room on the planes nowadays. I knew Dana would know the names of the Pac-Man coasts. By the way, if you'd like to join Dana and myself and a few of the other WP Eaglers, you can find us in the Discord, which you'll find a link to in the description of this chat. In fact, I've started adding it in the description to all my videos, and it'd be good to see you in there. It's like a chat room with us in it. Mainly Dana and a few of the other regulars. But yeah, great place to hang out. You can put the app on your phone, you can do it on your iPad, you can do it on your PC. You certainly will, J5. I will be doing another t-shirt giveaway. I think next live stream we'll do one for Super Chats. If you do a Super Chat, then you get entered into a draw to win a t-shirt. Stupid rope finding, I have no idea what you're talking about. Talking about playing an instrument with Doug there. Bagpipes would not be on the list. I have tidied the office. Has it been that long, Stephanie? Yeah, cleared all the shelves. There's still a few books and stuff, but generally it's a much nicer space to work in. John, I have indeed. One of the original internet gurus on YouTube, the lazy ass stoner. I hear what you're saying, Walt. Oh. Stop focusing on the ghost. I'm going to have to move the camera. Or maybe I'll just turn Blinky off. Come here, Blinky. Oh, there we go. He's gone. Sorry, Blinky. Was it Blinky? He changed his colour, so it's difficult to identify him properly. There we go. We're just moving this camera about. It doesn't matter. I'm going. There's my hand. Let's do the countdown. Thanks for joining me this evening. It's been great fun. I may have another video for you this week. I'm also, I don't know if I've told you this yet. I don't know if I have. While I was away last week, I think I did tell you, I told you in the stream last week, that yeah, memberships have been enabled on my channel. So I am going to be releasing them this week, hopefully. So if you do want to become a member, I'm going to have a few different tiers. A couple of them will be reasonably priced and will involve a private group with me where we talk on a regular basis about your sites and that kind of stuff. So hopefully that'll be interesting to a few of you. But yeah, keep an eye out for details on that. I'll hopefully get them up this week. Let's do the countdown. Discord is fun and helpful, says Dana, since I wasn't really selling it well. It is fun. It is fun. There's some great emotes in there and some great emojis and all that kind of stuff. Don't worry, J5, Doug. I'm not going to take it personally. It's water off of Doug's back. Let's go. 5, 4, 3. Oh yeah, the Facebook group in the chat somewhere. 3, 2, 1. Bye bye. How do we finish? Well, I'm still not in focus.